Now, because of the bizarre nature of David Icke's press conference with his two wives, David Icke was invited to be interviewed on a primetime chat show called Wogan, presented by a well-respected journalist named Sir Terry Wogan.
Man, Sir Terry Wogan. I don't know what the show was. Was it like Sally Jesse Raphael?
It's a woke Joe Rogan.
Wogan.
It's more like a David Frost.
Okay, so it was a serious journalism.
It was a serious chat show, yeah.
Yeah, because the reaction, it felt like he was he went to be on fucking, what's his name? Like he was on...
Cavett?
No, it kind of felt like he was on Springer.
Springer? Oh, no.
Well, the environment.
Yeah. The environment was a little rowdy. But no. Sir Terry Wogan was a serious man from what I could tell. I might be getting a bunch of emails saying that he was like, I don't know, like John Cleese, and I just don't know. But from what I read, he seemed fine.
Okay.
See, in this, Terry Wogan had a household name who had quite suddenly lost his mind and obviously wanted to talk about it. So Icke was a no-brainer for a guest.
Oh, yeah.
But while Icke thought that this was going to be a national platform to tell people his truth, it was instead the most humiliating experience of his life. After Icke went on and on during the interview about the true history of the world being lost for 12,000 years, how the world was going to end, but in a positive way, and that great disasters were going to befall Great Britain within 12 months, Wogan went in for the kill. Wogan asked as many questions as he could through David Icke's steamroll style of being interviewed. But Wogan was also able to make a couple of jokes, much to the delight of the audience. The atmosphere prompted this absolutely devastating exchange.
The way of removing negativity is to laugh and be joyous. So I'm delighted that there's so much laughter in the audience tonight.
But no,
but just let me say this.
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
Fine.
Woof.
Sheesh. And I could see how, like, I've had seminal bombs, right? Like, I've had bombs in my lifetime doing comedy that have taught me lessons that I needed to learn.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
I've walked up, I failed extremely badly, and then you kind of like, okay, we need to revisit this. We need to think about how we're approaching these various things. He decided that this was his ridicule thing. This is the moment where he's like, oh, this is my thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doubled down instead of rewriting.
Nobody has doubled down more than KFC, than fucking David Icke. David Icke has sextupled down.
Yes.
I don't think he's ever been up. He is so doubled down. His head is sticking out of his mouth, which is up his ass.
Nice.
Now, that 15-minute interview absolutely destroyed both David Icke's reputation and his ego, making him a permanent figure of ridicule. But it also hardened his resolve. Icke had two choices: give up and backtrack, or go all in.
We're going all in!
Yep, David, of course, went all in. And like a cult of one, he would continually up the ante year after year with increasingly unbelievable claims. I think all to keep himself believing in everything he was saying. Because that's the thing about cults. That's why cults get bad. Because the cult leader always has to have something new. They always have to have a new crazy fucking thing for everybody to follow. That's how Heaven's Gate went from a bunch of nerds to a bunch of nerds chopping their balls off to being dead.
You just have to because you have to stay ahead of the crew. You got to stay, because if you lose them, they could potentially fucking kill you. You know what I mean? They could all freak out. So you're trying to constantly kind of monitor this group. And a cult leader always, in our minds, either has one foot in the belief system and 1 foot out. David Icke is somebody that I am still puzzled. We keep of how much he believed.
Yeah.
Because of the way he doubles down and how much he talks. But then partially I wonder if that is again another one of those things that he's doing on purpose. That he's like, look how real I am. I don't shut up.
I think his thing is that he talks and he writes, but he doesn't think. And
Yeah.
that's how he gets, and that's how he stays where he is.
So Is he popular? Like, do people believe and follow him?
We're going to get into that more in episode 2, but let's just say that 3% of Americans believe that reptilians are real and they do run the government.
Yeah. Oh, God, so fucking depressing.
I mean, I was one of them for a long time, and I'm not putting against the reptilians, but I also feel like, don't they want to do something else? Don't they want to be in show business?
They are.
Nice.
Now, around the time of the Wogan debacle, Ike's throuple fell apart and Deborah Shaw left after she got pregnant. After she gave birth, Shaw told David that she didn't want him to have anything to do with their child's life, which was a request David honored. But from that, the media piled on by saying that Ike had abandoned the child and was inventing a religion only to sleep with women. Although the likely explanation is that Shaw was kicked out by Ike's wife once the turquoise triangle got a little too real.
I'm just going to put this again, even for David Icke, they don't work. Don't open your marriage. Right?
No.
Just don't, unless you've already been talking about it for a long time and you both do. That is my advice. Don't do it because it's hard. Because if David Icke can't keep 2 women happy and one of them thinks he's the son of the Godhead, are you going to do it?
I don't know. I've seen thruples work and I've seen thruples fail, but I have seen a lot more thruples fail than I've seen thruples work.
You just got to get that dick game strong. You got to be good at texting, know what proper emojis to use, and then also, don't. I think turquoise is not a sexy color.
Also, don't name it. Don't name your throuple. You're not a team.
Don't name it.
But after publishing a couple more books that were more or less harmless, David Icke pivoted to full conspiracy mode. Icke began writing about globalists, which, as we all know, is code for Jewish folk.
He was looking for a model. He was looking for a model for his giant leitmotif conspiracy theory to fit in.
Because he didn't really have much of a conspiracy theory at this point.
No,
he
it
had a
was
very
all-
vague conspiracy theory.
He was way into end of Earth predictions.
Yeah.
And he thought, but it was always this thing where it could never be negative.
Well,
It always had to be positive. The Earth had to go through all of this upheaval because if not, the Earth would explode, or he said not exist, or some garbage.
something. And he'd been saying in Truth Vibrations that the Earth's history had been lost for the last 12,000 years. That 12,000 years ago, there was a great cataclysmic upheaval that destroyed Atlantis and Lemuria, and we've been working to get back to that truth ever since. But then that's the thing, is that in order to keep that going, he had to ask, well, who were the ones that caused the cataclysm? And who is it that's keeping us down? And
It was
he has
Venus.
it was Venus?
Venus got too close when Nibiru hit Planet X and it split up, and then we were made at Earth, and then Venus came by too close to the forming planet Earth, and then the ice from Venus is the reason why we have ice on Earth.
I hope some people die in the next episode.
Well, a lot of people are gonna pretend die in this episode.
Okay, fun. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, in 1994, Icke wrote a book called The Robots' Rebellion, in which he claimed that a shadowy cabal that may or may not be made up of extraterrestrials controlled the world.
What do you think of that? Well, what do you think? Put that in your brain. Think about that one.
This plan, he wrote, was laid out in the anti-Semitic forgery, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is the go-to text for anti-Semites who claim that the Jewish people are subhumans hell-bent on total world domination. Are you familiar with the Protocols?
Oh, yeah. He actually, do you not see his back tattoo?
Yeah.
It's every word of it written on it. I was like, that is crazy to me,
Yeah.
but...
I fucked up, though. I put it on left to right.
Yeah.
It's mad at me.
The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, just so you know, is the quote-unquote proof that Jewish people run the world.
Yeah, and it was a forgery written by the Russian secret police many, many, many years ago in order to justify pogroms.
Do you know how many Jewish people I know that have asked to borrow money from me?
Have they thought about going down to the pet store and talking to some of the iguanas?
But Icke had an...
Because that's his big thing. He's against banks.
Yeah.
David Icke is so against
Well,
banks.
it's because of the Rothschilds.
But it's the thing, he's against the concept of you loan money and they pay you a percentage, which is again, they get a percentage more on the loan.
Usury.
And
He's against usury.
But that is, again, that's another weird anti-Semitic thing. It's too much not not anti-Semitic. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the whole thing about, Jewish people and why Jewish people got into banking is because they were pushed out of so many other professions that they had to figure out how the fuck to survive. And back in the day, Christians actually were against usury. It's in the Bible.
Oh, yes. That's why Jesus destroyed the fucking all the guys in the thing. He was like, yeah, you fuck bitch. And he'd come out and he was like, and then he teabagged the guy.
Which people also use as an anti-Semitic thing by saying that like Jesus was going into a den of thieves, which some people think is code for Jews. But the thing is, the reason why the Jewish people got to be into banking is because Judaism has no law against usury, has no law against interest. And so that's why Jewish people started banking, is because that's, it was a fucking service that needed to be there.
Yeah,
Borrow
it's
money,
the same-
pay the interest back, so on and so forth. But now, of course, you've got, how many fucking Christian bankers do we have today? Quite a few, even though in the Bible it says that you should not charge interest. It's against the rule.
Banking mecca of America is Charlotte.
I say we give the banks to the robots.
Yeah.
It's the same reason the Jews started Hollywood, because they were pushed out of every other fucking industry.
Yeah.
And they came all the way out to Los Angeles and they fucking started performing because it was the only thing they were allowed to do, because performers were supposed to be lesser than people. And
now we're better than them.
Now we're better than them.
Yes. Do you think I thought they went to California because they're used to the desert.
Can we point out that you're Jewish? I would like to point that out at this point.
Well, he's half Jewish.
My father's Jewish, my mother's Catholic, I'm an atheist.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So there you go, everybody.